it was just classic Spurs yesterday, man. Like, I guess first of all we'll get into the lineup, because I think the lineup from Thomas Frank was wrong yesterday. I think we can safely say that. I just don't understand for the life of me why he went for both Richarlison and Muani in the starting lineup. Why didn't he start Odegaard when Odegaard is clearly a man on the up at this moment in time? We keep saying his performances keep getting better and better and better. Proved in the second half how he keeps getting better and better and better. It just didn't make sense to me, that lineup.
You know, if he explained it, he did explain it after the game. He said he wanted Richarlison and Muani together so he can get some crosses in the box, and that's a way that they could hurt them. You know, Richarlison arriving at the back post to get headers, Muani as well. If they could overload the area, he thought they could potentially be a lot of joy there. Now, he said that Odegaard and Udogie were not picked due to tactical reasons rather than rotation. If he would have just said, look, a doggy can't play every game. We need to rotate. Like, even though he's playing very well at the moment. Same with Odegaard. You know, they're playing a lot of football. We need to get other. But he didn't say that. He said it's tactical. So I've got to take him on his word on that. If that is true, he's made a complete screw up, I think, when it comes to the lineup. Why does he think having Spence and Richarlison on the same side was going to cause United any problems? It didn't make sense to me. You got Spence, who doesn't want to go over a certain point. He doesn't like getting to the byline. Doesn't like to use his left foot. Doesn't like to put crosses in. When he's crossing, he's cutting inside and crossing it to the back post. You know, there's no link up with Richarlison. Richarlison's basically playing like a second striker. He's not playing like a left winger. So there's a massive chasm on that left-hand side. You need someone who's going to stretch the play and get to the byline and create width, because Richarlison's not going to do that. You know Richarlison's going to be tucked inside. So when I looked at the lineup, I kind of thought, okay, if you get Porro on the ball a lot or Johnson and get him crossing it in, and like a lot, and get Richarlison and Muani in there, I think I can see why. But the problem is we never really got into those positions because the build-up was so poor. And again, the chasm between the back line and the midfield and the attack is so big. How many times Javi's picking up the ball and he just no one around him, no help? That was really frustrating. So, I think the lineup definitely had some problems with it, and I think he admitted it pretty much at half time. Yeah,
I was just lost with the lineup, and I didn't know that he said that about the tactical reasons about Udogie, and that makes it even worse. That really does make it even worse, because we've seen pretty much all season that the build-up players on the left is pretty much gets hurt every time Jed Spence plays on that side. And I thought when Jed Spence moved over to the right, it looked a lot better because Jed was, getting down the line, getting to the byline, getting crosses in the box. He looked so much better on the right from an attacking point of view. And I think Frank got it completely wrong from the start. But I think the way we started the game, I know everyone's saying, the first half was terrible. It looked exactly the same as the Chelsea game, which, for the last 20 minutes of the first half, it did. Like the last 20 minutes of the first half, I thought was absolutely shocking. And Man United had us penned in a bit, and United were the ones looking like they were going to score. And even before they scored, it looked like, they were growing in momentum and looked like they were going to get the next goal. And when they did score, it looked like the goal was coming. And they went 1-0 up, and quite deservedly so. But I felt like we started the game quite well. And for the first 20 minutes of that game, I was actually quite happy with what I was seeing.
I think happy is not the word, but I think for me anyway, I think we did start bright, and obviously we had that early chance with Richarlison. Brendan whips it in. We had a couple of early corners which were wasted. So it looked like, on the front foot, clearly a bit of intent to start like we did against Copenhagen. Intense with the pressing, get at them early, we forced a mistake, didn't we, in the first minute from the keeper, who put out for a corner. So it looked like, I
don't know if it was forced, but they made a mistake.
Well, they made a mistake. The early part of the game was like, this is okay, but we didn't do much. We had one chance from Richarlison.
We didn't create much chances, but it looked more positive.
It looked more positive.
It looked positive. We were playing forward. We were pressing high. It's something that we weren't doing in the Chelsea game.
Yeah, I think Chelsea, the difference is Chelsea, we just literally had no kind of intent to go forward. And we, at least in this game, we were putting it in the box a lot earlier. We were looking like... We weren't basically playing a cowardly game. We had an intent to attack Man United and to force something. But the quality for some reason wasn't there at that time. It wasn't just the quality, it's just that we weren't getting enough bodies in the box. We weren't doing enough, essentially, to ask enough questions of United, I would say, especially in that first half. And the 20 minutes after some bit of pressure, it wasn't like constant pressure. It was just like we were going forward a bit more.
But we had control of the game at that point, and like those first 20 minutes, we were in control.
Yeah, I would say we were in control without doing much. Yeah, but like we didn't really. It wasn't like, I don't know. It depends how you define control. If you had, it's just having the ball control. We had possession.
We had possession. We were the ones without creating any chances, because like at the end of that first half, we end up with a 0.07 xG or something. So it's clear the chances, we weren't creating enough chances. But the reality was, I felt we were the ones looking a lot more positive on the ball than Manchester United in the first 20 minutes.
Okay, we were, but is that enough to really?
I'm not saying it's enough, but in terms of...
Okay, but United were probably very comfortable, I would say.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought we were more comfortable than United in those first 20 minutes.
That's fine, but we're at home. You know, those aren't things to, it's not like it's positive because it's better than Chelsea, but it's not too much to shout about. I'd say the first 20 minutes was okay. Like we had a bit of control. We didn't create much. We had one chance. United didn't really have much, but then, as you said, they grew into the game. They got the goal. Terrible defending for the goal, by the way. Not only, again, similar to Chelsea in the sense that we had chances to clear it before, and again, we didn't take them, and we're messing around with it, and all of a sudden it comes back to bite us. And the defending, the marking for the goal. They had 3 players against 2 at the back post. They had Mbeumo was completely free, and Dorgu was free. That was like Ange. Remember how many times we would say Ange is there's a player completely free at the back post all the time.
Yeah,
that reminded me of that. And I was wondering how that could happen. To be fair, I was saying before the game, if Dorgu starts, I'd be a bit more worried, and he did start. And he did cause us quite a few problems in that first half. That was a switch up I didn't expect, because they played Diallo up front in the front line rather than on wing back they usually been playing him. And I think that paid dividends for them, actually, because it meant they were a lot more defensively solid in that first half. And with Mbeumo, Diallo, Cunha, they had players who could carry the ball and all could run at us. And they were actually causing us a lot of problems. And they were stretching us as well. And I think Johnson wasn't tracking Dorgu all the way, which means Porro always had 2 players a lot of the time to manage. He had Mbeumo, who, by the way, played on the left-hand side, which, again, another surprise, which Amorim put in his lineup. And we had Dorgu. So Porro was, a lot of the time, struggling to deal with both of them. And you see the goal. Dorgu and Mbeumo both basically free at the back post. Porro had to choose one. And in the end, he kind of chose neither. And it kind of, he had that free header. And... it's not like United created chance after chance, but they then kind of had control in that for the remaining 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the game completely flipped like 20 minutes in, where it looked like we were the more comfortable team, and then Man United took complete control, and they looked a lot more dangerous than we looked in the first 20 minutes in the last 20 minutes of the first half. And for those 20 minutes, you're just thinking, like, this could actually be we could lose here, because we're just not in the game in any stretch of the imagination. The whole of those last 20 minutes was played in our half. I think we defended okay for the most part, but the goal was disgraceful. And to have Mbeumo to have a free header in the box, and now Vicario barely moves for the header as well.
It wasn't like right in the corner as well. I mean, it's a good header, and I don't think Vicario should have saved it, but it was
at least make an attempt for it. You know what I mean?
Watched it go in.
Yeah. So weird. I mean, that goal was a shit show all round. But look, the half ends,
and also there were so many moments where Xavi's getting the ball on the halfway line. He's turning his man. It happened a couple of times. He turned his man. I was like, wow, okay, that's good. And then he's on the halfway line with like 5 United players around him and literally not one Tottenham player in sight. It's like, what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, I know.
So frustrating. And then people accuse Xavi of oh, he's not doing enough time again. But look at this. He's beating a player, creating space, and then there's not one Tottenham player within 30 yards of him.
Exactly. He's not bloody Superman.
Yeah, what can he do?
He's not supposed to take it round every player on their team and put it in the back of the net himself.
I tell you what the best moment was of the first half. This made me laugh. Was Van der Ven gets the ball, and he beat one of the United players. Then all the whole crowd is he going to go again? Is he doing it again?
And then he lost the ball.
and then he just passed it safely. Or he lost the ball, one of the two. And didn't quite happen. But I think it got to the point like when you're expecting our centre back to run the whole pitch is our best opportunity to get a goal, you're in a bit of trouble. But that made me laugh.
Yeah, I know exactly which moment you're talking
There was
about.
a bit of excitement in the crowd.
There was excitement here in the studio as well. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. But look, the first half ends. I think Man United are in the lead, and they're good value for the lead. They deserve the lead at half time. And then Frank brings on Odegaard for Mawani. Obviously, Mawani goes off with the fractured jaw.
I really hope it wasn't just that took him off in terms of not Mawani itself, but Odegaard had to come on. You know what I mean? We needed to make that change regardless.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying at half time, Odegaard has to come on at half time. He has to, and he did. And he looked brilliant when he came on, to be honest. He really did. And he really sprang into life in the latter stages of the second half. I mean, he took Amad Diallo to the cleaners when Amad went to right wing back because Sesko went up front. And they just couldn't handle him. They really couldn't. He was beating men. He was getting crosses in the box. There was obviously that shot where Richarlison headed it on into the goal. He was by far our best player come the end of the game. Like, by far. There was no one that could come close to him. Yeah, and he really came on and made a big impact. And what I liked about him is he seems so much more confident now. He's taking people on. I think it was for the equaliser. He I don't know who he took on, but he took on a player. And he's not scared of getting a bit close to him just in case he's going to get shuffled off the ball. He was able to get round him, ride the contact and get out wide to a doggy. But even before that, what I liked about him is, for the chance for Romero, whipping it in early, not hesitating, getting a bit of space and getting a bit of quality into the box. And Romero, unlucky not to score. And he was making things happen. He was, especially when Diallo moved to wing back, all of a sudden, Odegaard really took the opportunity to go at him, and I think it made him feel even more confident than he was before. I think Odegaard is really starting to come into his own. Scored a goal in midweek, and looking a lot more confident. And I think he's growing and growing every game. And this was a brilliant cameo from him. What I would say is, in terms of just generally, Odegaard comes on. There was definitely an improvement for the next 10 minutes. We created that chance for Romero. We also had a free kick. Spence lobs it in, falls to Paulinho. He also makes a save from the ends. Then it did go quiet for quite a while, I would say. Up until the next round of subs.
Yeah, up until we bring on a doggy. And I think one also crucial sub, that happened in our favour, is they brought on Sesko and put Diallo at wing back. And I think the Sesko coming on caused us trouble, but actually when Diallo went at wing back, all of a sudden there was an area in United's defence that we could really exploit, and that was quite crucial. I think a doggy coming on and just basically relentlessly attacking that left-hand side, and all of a sudden Diallo had a doggy on his outside. He didn't have anyone tracking him back from the forward line. I don't know who was on the right on the hand side. Maybe it was Cunha who was up front.
Yeah. It was Cunha and Buemo.
And Sesko. So Cunha wasn't tracking him. So he was basically getting there, and he had Odegaard to live with as well, who was causing all sorts of problems. And all of a sudden, there was a key area down that left-hand side we were just exploiting. And obviously, that's where the goal came from. But I wouldn't necessarily. I did feel the goal did come out of nowhere a bit. I didn't feel like a goal was coming when it did come. It kind of just we just found a moment. Brilliant play from Odegaard. The doggy crosses it in, and then Tell, who obviously came on for Xavi, gets equalised. But we haven't talked about that. Obviously, Xavi goes off, and there was very, very loud boos in the crowd. I think part of it is just before Xavi went off, he had this 1-2 with Richarlison in and around the box. He gets the ball, does a 1-2 with Richarlison on the edge of the area, and again he gets the ball and lacking options to kind of no space to really get the shot off. Not really too many options to find a pass, and he ended up getting tackled. But you just saw, even with that 1-2, a bit of sharpness, a bit of spark, trying to make something happen, and then literally a few seconds later, he gets taken off to loud boos within the crowd. A lot of people in the crowd were thinking, is this Frank's Nuno moment where he takes off Lucas for Bergwijn? I thought that was a bit much. I've seen a few reports saying, there's parallels. The thing is, I didn't think Xavi was having a great game. I don't think it was his fault. I actually did think he looked bright.
I thought he was having a very good game.
But he was having a good game in the sense that, he looked bright. it's not. I don't think it was necessarily his fault that maybe he wasn't having as good a game as he could have, if you know what I mean. Because he was doing okay when he got the ball, right? He would like beat a player and create some space.
He was doing as much as he could.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not necessarily his fault, but he couldn't really create anything, and he couldn't do much because of, I don't know, either the setup or the players around him weren't making the movements, or he wasn't really getting the ball in the dangerous areas. He was always picking the ball up very deep and way too far away from goal. And I don't know whose fault you can put that down to, but I wouldn't necessarily say Xavi was like, he was playing so well you can't take him off. But I think on the flip side, you could all see that potentially if something was going to happen, he might be at the heart of it, because if we can if United do start dropping deeper to defend their lead and there starts getting pockets of space in and around the penalty area, maybe that's the time for Xavi to start exploiting, right? So to him to be taken off at that point was very frustrating. I think Xavi himself, you could see, was quite frustrated. But you got to say, Frank, to credit to him, Tell comes on and he scores.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, Brian on the watch along was saying, "Why are you taking Xavi off? If anyone is going to do anything, it's going to come from him." But I wasn't too fussed about the substitute, to be honest. When it happened, I was just saying, "Look, Xavi's doing well, but he's been on for 80 minutes, and we've done nothing off the good work that he's done. So let's give someone else a go, and let's see if someone else can." Cause some hurt into the Manchester United team, and lo and behold, that's what happened. Tell with a brilliant goal. As much as it was a deflection, it was a kind of Jermaine Defoe-esque movement in the box, wasn't it? Like the way he touched it on and just banged it, and it rifles into the roof of the net.
I think the key to the goal is that first touch to create the separation, just to get a little bit of room for the shot. And that is what Tell, I've noticed, is very good at. Whatever you want to say about him, when he gets the ball, you saw it against Leeds as well. Just a little touch to create that extra yard to get the shot off. Whereas when it's like Richarlison or some maybe other strike, maybe even Solanke in that position, how many times they would get their shot blocked or they wouldn't create that extra yard for one reason or another, whether their touch isn't that good or whatever. Tell is very good at just getting that extra yard to get the shot off, and he's got a good shot on him. Yes, it was deflected, and you could say both his goals this season have been deflections, but he's done very well just to create that little bit of room, and that's not as easy as it looks. So fair play to Tell. Inside the box as well, when it's congested, there's a lot of players around him, not much space to play in, and as well, it was up against De Ligt, who had a great game. I thought he was playing really well. So to get that extra yard against that centre-back like that and get the goal, all credit to him, making an impact. And also, obviously, what made the difference? A doggy stretching the play, getting to the byline and getting the cutback. It's not rocket science. That's what he can provide on the left-hand side. So credit to a doggy as well. Credit to Matty Tell. And then that basically kicked off what was a crazy last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah. Can I speak now? Yeah, I mean, those last 10 minutes, you just couldn't catch your breath, could you? You just could not catch your breath. Like, goal, and how the hell do we not win that game, man? How the hell do we not win that game? Like, seriously. Like, you go 2-1 up on the 81st minute. It's an actual disgrace how we don't win that game. You have to hold on for 30 seconds. That corner at the end of the game, I'm sorry, but that was an absolute disgrace. I won't hear anything other than that. Like, why the hell? And I noticed this throughout the game as well with the zonal marking that we're doing at corners. Like, Brennan Johnson is on De Ligt in every corner that we've conceded in the game. Like, how is that on? Like, seriously, Thomas Frank prides himself on his defending set pieces. We've got this set piece coach in there, and if you want to do this zonal marking, fair enough, but don't put Brennan Johnson, don't allow that to happen and persist throughout the game, and potentially, and especially not in a one that's gonna like hold the game out for us. Like, it just makes no sense at all. How is Brennan Johnson on De Ligt every single time?
I've noticed in the corners it seems as though we've got like a bit of a hybrid system going on in corners. We've got like man marking and zonal, a bit of both. Some players are doing man marking, some players are doing zonal. And it seems as though Brennan Johnson's in the man marking camp and he's man marking De Ligt, which I don't really understand. He completely loses him. It's not even a case of him being beaten in the air. De Ligt, a bit of clever movement, made sure he made the run where there's a lot of players in between him and Johnson. Johnson basically runs into the player instead of keeping up with De Ligt, and obviously that's the goal.
Who makes a decision like that before a game saying, Brennan Johnson, you're on De Ligt?
Well, it must be Frank, because
like, it's ridiculous, though. It's not ridiculous.
I agree. He's not the player I'd have, but
Why not have Mickey van de Ven on de Ligt every time?
Because the defensive players are the ones in the zonal areas, it seems. It seems the defensive players in the zonal areas and the attacking players are the ones in the man marking. I don't know, take of that what you will. That's the plan at the moment, it seems.
It's not sustainable. Like, fine, you can get a few corners that don't hit the man and don't hit de Ligt, but every time it goes to him, Brennan Johnson is not going to beat de Ligt in the air. It's just not going to happen. And he lost him on that occasion. Vicario's like behind his goal line or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just a shit show throughout. And Man United get the draw.
And against 10 men.
Yeah, I know.
How do they have a free header against 10 men?
Well, they do have the keeper in the box as well.
True, but still, like, we've got the extra man. They should never have a free header.
But that's how they made up for it, because they put the keeper up there. So
Yeah,
they
we always
didn't.
have a keeper.
Yeah,
It's
it's
11
true,
against
but
10.
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, the keeper took Sesko's pace,
I understand. But
so it's still
10
the
men.
same. It's the same as what it would have been.
Yeah, I understand that, but we still have the extra man. So they should never have a free man in that situation. So that was ridiculous. But obviously, we didn't talk about the goal, but when it did come on the 92nd minute, Odegaard, gets that shot. Richarlison gets a little flick on it, and it heads in the back of the net. And there was absolute pandemonium in the stadium, I have to say. It was like everyone thought
pandemonium in here.
everyone thought this was it. What like incredible turnaround! Like it would have been an absolute smash and grab if we would have won that game. To be honest, not to say that.
I thought we deserved it.
I would say not to say that United was so good that it would have been ridiculous if we would have won. I think a draw was probably a fair result, to be honest.
I thought, like, in the build-up to us getting our first goal and the second goal, we were looking really threatening, really dangerous, probably more than Man United looked all game, to be honest. Like, as much as we weren't creating, like, consistent, clear-cut chances, I thought by the end of that game, we marginally did enough maybe to win it.
To be honest, I thought a goal wasn't coming before Tell's goal. It didn't look like we were going to score, and then we did score a bit out of nowhere. But look, fair play, we create the goal, good goal. And then for me, it was more like we had an opportunity, because obviously they had that chance with Sesko. He goes 1-on-1. Brilliant tackle from Van de Ven.
Oh, yeah, that was a game-saving challenge.
Unbelievable tackle from Van de Ven. And that kind of, it seemed as though everything fell into place from that challenge, because Van de Ven makes the challenge when it could have been 2-1 to United. He then injures Sesko in the process. He has to go off, and they're down to 10 men. And then we go and score the winner against that 10 men. It gave us a bit of momentum and a bit of an opportunity, because we're playing 10 men at that point. So all of a sudden, it's like, okay, everything's falling in our favour. We then get the winner through Richarlison. Well, I have to say, a lot of people I've heard say that Odegaard's shot was going in anyway. I don't think it was. I think Richarlison does turn it home. I think it's a really good instinctive header, and I think he deserves more credit for it. I don't know if he knew much about it, to be honest. I think he did. You
Richarlison.
see, he flicks it in. He did know a lot about it. I think he did that on purpose.
I'm not sure.
Watch it back. He did. You could see he moves his head. I think it's really clever play from him. I think he deserves a lot of credit for it. So fair play to Rishi. He got the goal.
Mikey Moore just scored for Rangers.
That's great news. More good news. And Lancashire got a goal yesterday. Anyway, about another time.
I think that's more interesting, to be honest.
And then, as you say, they got the equaliser, which... Do you think they got the equaliser purely because Richarlison took his shirt off? Is that the reason? Because he seems to be cursed whenever he takes his shirt off. Someone's got to stop him. Someone's got to pull that shirt back down and say, no. Things always go wrong when you take your shirt off, Richie. And yeah, it's gutting. It's a weird... I had a very weird feeling after the game. I completely agree with you. When you're 2-1 up in the 92nd minute, when you scored the winner, essentially, or what we thought to be the winner, you can never, ever in a million years let that slip, especially when you got the extra man against 10 men. And as well, I felt, in that period, when we were 2-1 up, we were being stupid on the ball. I felt like all we had to do was keep the ball.
No, we were panicking.
Yeah, we were panicking. We were playing against 10 men. And there was one moment I remember specifically, Sarr gets the ball, he plays it to Bentancur, and he's like playing dangerous balls in between the lines. It's like, all he had to do was pass it back to the keeper and just keep possession for like a few minutes. We then ended up panicking. We somehow gave the Man United one possession. Tell then goes into a challenge with Bruno and doesn't come away with it. You should either be wiping him out or putting the ball out of play for a throw. He does neither. It's a weak challenge. Bruno then keeps the ball. They end up winning a corner out of the situation. And they get the goal. But it was so avoidable. We didn't have to give away a corner. I was just as angry with how we dealt with being 2-1 up as I was with that corner as well. That the whole situation was avoidable, and obviously, yeah, the corner happened. What happened with the corner happened, but it's a weird feeling because for 70 odd minutes of that game, I would have taken a point because I didn't think we were going to get a point out of that game because we were losing for so long and it didn't feel like that goal was coming. Then to be in the lead on the 92nd minute and then give that up is like, oh, how did we not win?
That's football, isn't it? That's football.
So I guess at the end of the day, for me, I didn't feel like a point was unfair on Tottenham. I think a point was probably a fair result. I thought for parts, United were better. I thought for most of the second half, we were better, to be honest, and we were the better team.
I thought United were only significantly better than us in 20 minutes of the game.
There was but I felt as well in that second half they were keeping them at arm's length. They were defending quite comfortably for large parts of that second half. Apart maybe the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of that second half, we were creating stuff. But I thought for large parts of that second half.
But we also kept them at arm's length for the majority of the whole game.
Yeah, but they were. It's true, but they're 1-0 up, so they're more focused on defending. So I think I think United were very comfortable for large parts of that game. I would say.
Yeah, but so were we. So were we. We were also. Yeah, we were losing, but I mean. The 25 minutes, yeah, but I just genuinely thought we were the better footballing side on the day. Like, I know we weren't great. I'm not saying this was an unbelievable performance, but I thought it was just two poor sides going at each other yesterday.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
That's what it was. So I say a draw is probably a fair result.
I think a draw wasn't not fair. It wasn't not fair. It wasn't an unfair result. I just felt by the end of it we were slightly the better side of the two.
Maybe, yeah, probably. I think we were slightly the better side, but a draw was a fair result for me.
Yeah.
I think I didn't feel robbed that that was a draw in the end of the day. There was no booing at full time, so it seems like some of the fans were at least content with the fact that we saw some entertainment in the last few minutes. I would say, before the 85th minute, there was a lot of frustration, and if Tell obviously don't, well, look, we got the equaliser and what ifs and buts, but it was very Chelsea-esque probably before that Tell equaliser. It was better because at least we had some shots on target, but it wasn't a massive departure. I'd say it was a very poor game of football in general.
It wasn't like the Chelsea game. It was not like the Chelsea game. It was a lot better.
It was better, but
that Chelsea game was literally scraping the bottom barrel of performances that we've seen in recent years. Like, this was not that.
No, it was better. I agree, it was better than Chelsea even before that, but it wasn't put it this way, it wasn't impressive.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't impressive. No, 100% it wasn't impressive. But when you compare the two sides, I think if you look at the metrics, we had double the amount of shots on target, more possession on the day. Like Chelsea, we could barely get a shot on goal.
No, I agree with that. It was.
All you can ask is to move forward, and it's a forward step in terms of performance than it was in the last game.
I mean, I don't know if that's all you can ask.
It is at this stage. You said you want more. You want to see more in the performance, and you saw more in the performance.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I'm yes.
You don't need to be happy about it, but
that's why obviously.
But you're feeling a lot happy after that game than you were after the Chelsea game.
Yes, but Chelsea was, as you say, a very low bar to contend with, and it's an improvement on the Chelsea game, no doubt. First of all, I don't think we're playing as good of opposition. So I think they've got to take that into account. But yes, it was better than the Chelsea game, 100%. And we were at least had intent to go forward. We were putting crosses in earlier. It wasn't always just go backwards. But we still had a big struggle, for large parts anyway, creating the chances. But to be fair, would I be saying all of this if the Lit doesn't put that header in the last minute? Maybe not. Maybe I'll be obviously feeling a lot more positive. But I also can't sit here and say it was a great performance, because it wasn't.
No, it definitely wasn't a great performance. I agree with that.
And I would argue if we would have won, we probably would have a bit of luck as well to win that game. I just felt we didn't really deserve to win, but then we were unlucky not to win at the same time. So it's hard to really analyse that game in that sense. But it's just another poor. I would say it's just in general another poor home display. I would say. To be honest.
It's funny because it's another it's not a great home display, but it's probably one of the best home displays that we've had this season.
You're right. As much as we weren't even great in that first half, it was probably a lot better than what we've played in a lot of other games.
Like, it was better than Bournemouth. It was better than Chelsea. It was better, most definitely better than the second half at Wolves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, in terms of how home displays have gone this season, it was one of the best ones we've had.
Yeah, it's true.
It's probably better than Villarreal as well, where we
Probably
won.
better than Villarreal. You're right. You're not wrong there. I think that does say more about our home displays than it does about how good or bad we were yesterday. But yeah, still not a lot.
So it's a step in the right direction.
I guess, but it would just need more. Need more improvement.
Of course we need
more.
more.
Is it enough of a step, I would say, from one of the worst displays we've seen where there were loud boos to what we saw yesterday. Look, I'm not saying Frank out. I'm just saying, like, I didn't come away impressed with what I saw. But credit to the team for battling and putting themselves in a position where they should have won the game. I also felt like, obviously, it's a massive missed opportunity because you've got those last 5 minutes against 10 men, and you get the goal, and obviously when you can't see that out, it's more of a. I think that's how I'm feeling. It's more of a missed opportunity than anything.
Yeah, it was a massive missed opportunity. You have to end that game with 3 points with the position we put ourselves in, and I think. Yeah, it's just a bit of a disgrace how we let that slip. Just the 2 goals that we conceded were just so avoidable. Yeah. Both of them. That's the most frustrating thing about it. Like, just so avoidable. Like, the goals that we scored, I don't think were that avoidable from Matt. I just think it was good play from us, like the 2 goals that we scored.
Yeah.
But the ones that we conceded, and apart from the ones that we didn't really give up that many chances apart from the 2 goals.
2 goals, 2 shots on target, 2 goals.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So in that sense as well, we deserve to win the game. But it's just frustrating, like really poor defensive play from Tottenham Hotspur. But Frank's got to learn from it once again, and we got to move on and show a better display. But don't get any easier because we go to the Emirates next.
How do you feel about a North London derby off the back of the last... It's interesting, we had this obviously week of home games. We're saying, okay, we need to improve the home form. We've had a loss, a draw and a win.
Yeah.
All 3 results.
But it's like, obviously we had a really good display against Copenhagen. We had probably like the best and the worst displays that we've had this season in this week.
Probably a 1 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, and a 5 out of 6 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. So look, we go into the Emirates. They're going to coming into it in a wounded animal though, after the 2-2 draw at Sunderland yesterday. But they got 2 weeks to mull over it. International break. Let's hope we don't get any injuries on international break because we can't afford any injuries going into this.
Going to that game without Moani as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel confident going to North London derby in the state we are at the moment?
Not at all. But look, Arsenal actually looked good yesterday. Like, in terms of an attacking force and them being able to create chances from open play, I think that was one of the best performances in the second half I've seen from them this season.
Yeah. I think they responded to go 1-0 down like really well, and I thought, okay, this could be a struggle for them because Sunderland are very good defensively, but they just found a way, didn't they? And with quality, you got to say, they found a way with quality to get back in that game.
But they couldn't hold on.
No, which is very unlike Arsenal.
Yeah. But look, that is the match review. Spurs drew 2-2 with Manchester United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's move on to player ratings, and let's start off with